How many times have you found yourself saying something in English only to be met with confusion or blank stares? You might think you're saying the right thing, but there's something off. What if I told you the problem isn't your vocabulary or even your grammar, but rather five simple mistakes that native speakers never make, but you do? It's frustrating, right? These little mistakes are the reason you're still not speaking English like a pro. And today, we're going to fix them. Stop making these five mistakes that are holding your English back. Stick around because these mistakes are so common, but once you know about them, you'll never make them again. Now, let's jump in and talk about the five deadly mistakes that even the most advanced learners make and what you need to do instead to sound like a native speaker. Before we dive into these mistakes, let's take a quick journey back to the roots of English. English, like any language, evolves over time. It wasn't always the polished language we speak today. In fact, it was chaotic at one point, filled with slang, regional dialects, and words borrowed from different languages. This is why the English you learn in school sometimes sounds completely different from the way real people talk. Let's start in Shakespearean England. Back in the 16th century, English was a mishmash of influences, from Latin to French to Old English. This jumble led to all kinds of linguistic quirks. For example, many English words sounded different than they do today. The R sound wasn't pronounced as it is now. Over time, English speakers dropped some of the extra elements of the language to make speech quicker and more efficient. In the modern era, English has become a global language spoken by billions across the world, but native speakers still follow the natural flow of language, which is why they don't sound like the English you hear in textbooks. And this is exactly why learners of English make mistakes that native speakers would never make. So, why should we care about these mistakes? The answer is simple. Understanding how native speakers speak gives you a shortcut to fluent, natural sounding English. A 30-day formula, a routine built for success. The first thing you need to understand is this. Mastering English in 30 days is possible, but you can't cheat the system. This won't work if you skip days or only do the bare minimum. The plan I'm sharing with you requires dedication, focus, and consistency. But don't worry, every step of the way has been designed to maximize your learning without overwhelming you. So let's break down the ultimate daily routine to master English. Each day, you'll be working on a combination of skills: speaking, listening, reading, writing, and even grammar. By spreading your practice out evenly over the month, you'll notice huge improvements each week. You won't just passively consume English, you'll actively engage with it, making learning fun and practical. This plan is designed to target all aspects of language acquisition so that in 30 days, you'll feel like a true English speaker. Let's take a deeper look into what you'll do each week, building from the ground up and making steady progress each day. Mistake, one of which was overthinking word order in sentences. By now, you should understand that word order in English is crucial for proper sentence construction. However, the issue lies in the fact that many learners, especially at an intermediate level, overcomplicate this process. Instead of focusing on delivering the core message, they often get lost in details like where to place certain words in the sentence. For example, take this sentence, "I am going to the store." A common mistake made by learners is rearranging the sentence to be overly complex. To the store, I am going. Why is this problematic? Not only does it sound unnatural, but it can confuse the listener or reader. In everyday conversation, native speakers would never say something like that. It simply isn't how we talk. The trick here is to trust the simplicity of the English sentence structure: subject plus verb plus object. Focus on getting your message across instead of worrying about each word's position. English is about efficiency, and native speakers automatically follow the sentence structure without much thought. Mistake: to overusing very. Native speakers don't need it. Let's talk about overusing the word very. It's a word that, for many learners, seems like an easy way to amplify their adjectives. But the truth is, native speakers rarely use very in their everyday speech because they already have more specific adjectives that carry the same meaning but with more impact. Consider these examples. Instead of saying very tired, native speakers might say exhausted or worn out. Instead of saying very good, native speakers would likely say excellent or fantastic. Why should you avoid very? It makes your speech sound basic and repetitive. It's a lazy way of expressing yourself. You limit your vocabulary and miss the opportunity to sound more sophisticated. To truly sound native-like, replace very with stronger words. Here's a trick. Keep a list of very plus adjective pairs and start using more vivid, stronger adjectives instead of very. For example, very happy, ecstatic, very interesting, fascinating, very important, crucial. It's all about enriching your vocabulary, and native speakers do this effortlessly. Monday mistake 3, ignoring phonetic shortcuts and contractions. Now that we've tackled contractions, let's dive deeper into phonetic shortcuts. Native speakers use them to speak faster and more fluidly, making their speech smooth and natural. And if you don't use them, your speech will sound too formal and robotic. Think of the phrase, "I am going to the store." Native speakers won't say this in its entirety. Instead, they'll shorten it to, "I'm going to go to the store." Similarly, they'll say, "I'll" instead of "I will," "I've" instead of "I have," and so on. Why do native speakers do this? The reason is simple: efficiency. Native speakers are all about speaking quickly, comfortably, and without hesitation. For instance, the word going to is often reduced to gonna, and this is so commonly used that it's expected in informal speech. If you say going to in a casual setting, you might sound a little stiff or overly formal. Here's how you can make your speech more natural. Practice with common contractions like I'm, your, there, were, I've, you've, they've, etc. And use phonetic shortcuts such as gonna, gonna, go, wanna, want to, gotta, got to, leem, let me. Start talking faster and incorporating these shortcuts into your regular speech. Mistake 4, misusing prepositions. They don't always translate. Prepositions are another area where learners tend to stumble, often making mistakes due to direct translations from their native language. For example, many non-native speakers say in the bus when they should say on the bus, or in the park when it should be at the park. It's important to remember that prepositions don't always have a direct translation or logic, which is why they often trip up learners. Prepositions are part of fixed expressions, and their use depends on context and the specific phrases native speakers use. There is no need to overthink or overcomplicate. Just follow what native speakers do. For instance, native speakers say in the car, not on the car. Native speakers say on the bus, not in the bus. At home is used not in home. To master prepositions, you need to memorize the correct expressions as they come. The best way to do this is by listening to native speakers, reading books and paying attention to how prepositions are used, practicing with prepositional phrases on time, at work, in the morning. Start incorporating these phrases into your everyday speech, and you'll start sounding more natural in no time. Mistake 5, translating directly from your own language. This is the biggest mistake that advanced learners make, and it's a killer for fluency. Translating directly from your native language into English leads to awkward sentences that native speakers wouldn't use. It's like building a house on a shaky foundation. If you don't stop translating, your language structure will be flawed. Let's take the phrase, I have hunger. In English, we say, I'm hungry. If you translate I have hunger from another language directly, the result is a grammatically incorrect sentence. Similarly, saying, I'm making my homework instead of I'm doing my homework sounds unnatural to a native speaker. The solution is simple. Stop thinking in your native language and think directly in English. The more you stop translating, the more your brain will start to think in English naturally, and you'll feel much more confident. Optional, interesting side note. Did you know that native speakers often skip certain words entirely in their speech, especially when they understand each other through context? For example, a native speaker might say, gonna grab some food. You coming? Without saying the full phrase, I'm going to grab some food. Native speakers rely on context to fill in the gaps. So instead of struggling to translate every sentence perfectly, try learning how to understand meaning from context instead of word-for-word translation. It's a game changer for fluency. So here you have it, the 5 deadly mistakes that could be holding your English back. But now you know better. Stop overthinking your word order, use contractions and shortcuts. Ditch the excessive use of very and start thinking directly in English. By avoiding these mistakes, you'll sound more fluent, confident, and natural when you speak English. Remember, native speakers don't overthink their language, they just speak, and so should you. If you want to sound like a native, you don't need to memorize complex grammar rules all the time. Just follow the natural patterns that native speakers use. If you found this video helpful, don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit that bell icon for more tips on how to improve your English. Let me know in the comments, what mistakes have you been making? Which one are you going to stop doing today? Let's talk.